Guys, you just never know what you're gonna find in your drain pan. Like a
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. You guys know that I have this truck still in sled pull mode and the Fire Punk sled pull, which I've talked about before, and I just lived on the wrong side of the country. Well, that event is coming up and I'm really excited to go out there. That will be our next event. I believe it's July 16th up in Plain City, Ohio. I'm really excited. I don't know, that sled pull just always looks like so much fun. I know Levon and I believe Taterbuilt Turbochargers put up a big purse to get people to come out. Honestly, I'd probably come out if it was free anyway, but we're signed up, ready to go. You guys remember the last time the 07 was out, we destroyed that rear drive shaft. So now we're gonna go ahead and get it ready to go. Probably a trans fluid, check the transfer case fluid, check the rear end fluid as well. Just kind of do a once over on this whole thing, make sure it's good to go for that sled pull. So without further ado, let's get this thing pulled in and see what she's got. Well, the first step to getting this thing fixed for the Fire Punk pull, let's get her fired up. She's been sitting for a while. This is a true cold start, guys. Let's see how she do. Pretty much stock. So let me get this pulled into the shop. Okay, next day, was working on the website. So this is what's left in here. Let's see if we can pull this out here. I'm feeling it's gonna be pretty hard, but oh, did move. Let me go get some other extraction tools. Okay, we took the rear housing off. This actually exposes your pump right here. Here is the remaining piece of the drive shaft slip yoke. Fluid came out pretty nasty. As to be expected, it kind of looks like this color. And then we're gonna probably need a new seal. That wearing might leak, might not, but anyway, we're gonna go ahead. You guys saw me flush it out with brake clean. Everything still feels solid in here. Like the drive shaft, front drive shaft doesn't have a lot of play. So we're just going to reseal this, fill it full of fresh fluid, probably get a new output shaft seal here. And yeah, we're gonna move on to probably draining the trans now. I want to do a trans service on this, make sure we are ready to go. Okay, so we have the rear section that we removed. I'll just take a razor blade, get rid of this old RTV. For those of you guys that don't know, there's actually a little indent in these 271 cases where you take like a punch, hit that seal out this way, and then here's the part number 710902. That is your national oil seal number, and as you guys can see here, we have a perfect fit. I don't know why everyone struggles with that seal, but it's called a transfer case output shaft seal, and you just look it up for your year. And yeah, I'll get this switched around. The only thing I do is I put a little bit of like green 640, 680 Loctite on this lip here, and then I use a socket to beat it in. I'll show you guys that process here in a sec. Okay, there's our green Loctite. Set this in there, and then in my case, this piece of 3.5 inch pipe and this oh my goodness, this lifting eye here will be our press, and you just kind of tap it down in there. I'm going to use both hands, but you guys get the gist. You tap it down until it bottoms out. And this is what it should look like. You want to orient that hole, by the way, down towards the ground, which we did do, but I did forget to cover that, so make sure that hole faces down. Now we're going to go ahead, get some fresh RT sizzle on here. I just used the Right Stuff black, and we'll get this put back on. And there's the goop, Right Stuff, and you kind of want to go around the tangs that retain that pump right there. So I'm gonna get you guys set up and we'll put this back together. And from here, we're just gonna put the fill plug or the drain plug back in, throw some ATF +4, just the cheapest stuff I could find, and we will get our drive shaft in. I'll probably check the trans first, just in case there is anything wrong with it before I start putting fluid and everything back together, and we gotta pull the trans out. And here we go. A little bit of debris on the magnet. Color is extremely red, which is a good sign there. Really, really liking that. Heck yeah. Well, I'm gonna put this down before I really make a mess, but I just, no holds barred here, guys. We'll take the pan off real quick, see what she looks like, give her a band adjustment, probably a fresh filter. I have not changed this fluid since I moved here, so quite a bit of wear and tear, street abuse, sled pulling, all that stuff on there. So not to mention towing all the way across the country. But we'll get her drained and show you what it looks like. Man, guys, you just never know what you're gonna find in your drain pan. Like a power Yilt 6-inch extension. I have no idea. I know Meyer checked the fluid and filter for me right before I left Utah, and that's the last time I had the pan off. So power built 6-inch
extension. We're gonna ask Meyer about that, but you cannot even make that crap up. That is too funny. So we'll get the pan cleaned up. Honestly, filters looking pretty good. Pretty good. Our band's pretty good. Over here we have second gear band's a little loose. We'll tighten that up just a touch. But yeah, just a band adjustment on the second gear. Low reverse feels fine. Fresh filters, and we'll be good to go. So I'm gonna go ahead and get all this kind of cleaned up, clean out the pan, and you'll be good to go. Now for you guys that are always curious, I'll drain this pan in a spot where you guys can kind of see it. That way you kind of know what you're looking at, because there is a little bit of brass in here, and that is normal with a fresh trans, especially with the billet output shafts with that fresh bronze. You'll see some wear there, but this is a really good textbook kind of what it should look like. So I'm gonna get this out in the light. Okay, so you guys see that little bit of glitter in there? That is acceptable, normal. Don't panic. I try not to let any of the big chunks go because we are going to reuse some of that fluid. But you guys can see here just a little bit of discoloration, a little bit of bronze, nothing alarming here. So this is a good service interval, and we'll put a filter on it, clean this pan out, and adjust the band. Our new filter is on. Now, on these band adjustments, you know, I look at like guys like, you know, Dave. They're not familiar with the trans, and he actually showed me this pretty cool trick. I do it all by feel, courtesy of the Murr, but he showed me this trick, and apparently this is what Levon told him to do, which is you slip an 8mm Allen. Excuse me. While I struggle bus here. But anyway, I guess what Levon showed Dave is you slip an 8mm Allen right here, and you just go finger tight on the adjustment with this 8mm Allen, and it sets it perfect. So for those of you guys that struggle, this is a 4-2 lever adjustment. On like a built trans, you slip that in there. I'm assuming any fire pump trans, it would be totally okay, but kind of a cool little trick Dave showed me, and he gave credit to Levon, so shout out to the boys over at Fire Punk. But pretty cool. Now we'll just throw the pan on, torque all of our pan bolts, and get this thing full of fluid. This is why you should not YouTube and do tranny work. I had the filter on backwards, got her flipped around. Now we can put the pan on. So just wanted to clarify, filter on correctly now, wasn't before. Okay, shifter's back on, pan's back on. Our plug is tight, which is something I highly recommend everyone always check when you're doing this service. We're gonna plug our trans temp gauge back in like so, and from here fill our transfer case up. ATF +4, like I said, drive shaft in, blue Loctite on those bolts there, and I will show you guys the fluid that we're using for the transmission. Multi-vehicle Fram, it's like a Dexmerc pretty much, super cheap. And then for the transfer case, Fram ATF +4. And then we're also gonna go into the rear end just to make sure nothing's tore up there. I got a couple bottles because I had some more in the shop there. So I'm gonna get all this mess cleaned up, get the trans, or get this back down because I just remembered the drive shaft bolts are in the truck, and then we will put it all back together. So for you guys that struggle filling your transfer cases, I used to be like that. Wasn't very long ago. What I found, you take your quart of transmission fluid here, you take a diff, like from diff fluid cap on here, they screw right on, they seal all right, tighten it down, and then you can just squirt the fluid in. I don't know off the top of my head how much these take. I want to say it's under 5 quarts, but this is the easiest way I found to fill a transfer case if you don't have all the fancy hose and everything. There's one quart. Get our next one opened up here. And you want to give enough time, especially if you have to go into that like we did. You want to give it enough time to set up with the RTV. And on your rear diff, you just want to make sure you get the drain plug out. That way, sometimes they'll rust in there or whatever. And then the only trick I have here is take all of them except for the top one out, and that'll stop the cover from swinging off. I'll try to, I don't know if there's any good spot to set you guys. And no missing teeth yet. We are starting to get some wear, but it'll be fine. So we'll just throw some fresh fluid in it. Okay, so we got our backup CCI driveline in, our loop back on, our traction bars are tight now, and it is time to lower this thing, fill it with fluid, and this will complete the maintenance cycle from sled pulling. And then guys, a little trick I do is I will take the fluid I drain in the bucket, dump it into these gallon containers, and that will tell you exactly. So I'll dump one of these into the trans, and then I line up the lines of full off the one that's not open against the one that's now empty, and basically I came up with right about 10 quarts. So you can go ahead and just dump all that in there, which we did, and now I will start the truck in neutral and check the fluid level.
All right, guys, 11.5 quarts. She's full, checked, topped off, however you want to word it. We went, got the rear differential fluid change, inspected the ring and pinion, looked okay, pulled apart our transfer case, replaced that one seal, obviously installed a new drive shaft, changed the fluid, cleaned that out, adjusted our band, filled the fluid. I also checked the traction bars, checked our engine oil, and we are ready to go. Hopefully you guys like this video. Drop a comment down below if we're gonna see you at that Fire Punk sled pull. Again, that's July 16th up in Plain City. Fire Punk Diesel is the one putting it on. I can't wait to go out there. Anyway, guys, subscribe if you are not already, and as always, I'll catch y'all in the next one.